I'm really proud of the Ruidoso Safe team that Manager Dodge and Assistant Manager Sana put together. Those folks are really working hard, and I saw the counselors out there, so I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I know a lot of our businesses and personnel do. So again, I really appreciate that. That's really above and beyond folks' normal scope of work, getting outside of their comfort zone. And to another matter, we have been having a lot of conversations with the governor. It seems like that we're really reaching a stalemate, a position that she's dug into. Hopefully she has a change of heart tomorrow. I know she's upset at several people throughout the state, Lee County manager and others, that she's, I guess, wanting to make an example of. As far as businesses that are operating in town, we're not condoning that they go against the governor's orders. I know we have several restaurants that have chosen to do so. I know they've been served paperwork. I know that they've been given a citation from the state police, which doesn't amount to a whole lot. And then I know there'll be other charges allegedly coming from the health department, from the Secretary of Health Kunkel, and with fines. But what they're basically doing is threatening, if you have any type of a state license, server's license, liquor license, whatever, that's basically what they're threatening, is that they're going to rip those up and you'll have to start over on those, and then that there could be potential fines, and they mentioned jail time. So those are things that are going on in the community. Here at the village, we are really virtually powerless to stand against that because of the virtue of the New Mexico Constitution, which I just asked our attorney to show it to me again in black and white, because I do forget things from one morning to noon to night. And that, you know, she has the ability to do this over 30 days on an emergency basis. And the emergency is basically given to her by the Secretary of Health. And so y'all can do the math on that. So we are doing everything we can to work diplomatically through the rules that we have, Constitution, our ordinances, you know, all the things that are being done to the point of exhaustion. So it's just going to take us all working together, not just in Ruidoso, but in every municipality, every county in this state, to get this changed. And so if you want somebody to blame, you need to go look in the mirror and make sure that you don't have the same person in office next year, and that things are making the change. So you'll need to do your part this election coming up in the next one. So that's all I got to say, and I'll move on to the agenda items. We'll go to number one. Number one is discussion and possible action on medical, health and medical insurance, dental and supplemental insurance policies and premiums for FY 2021 budget year. And so I believe that we'll have Cheryl, HR department, that's going to come in.
Mayor, we have actually Gilda up there.
Well, I know we do, but I'm letting Cheryl going to do the presentation.
Do you need any approval of the agenda?
Oh, excuse me. I probably do need approval of today's agenda, do I? No? Oh, not for a special meeting. Okay, I stand corrected. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning.
And I know that we have Gilda on Zoom, Skype, Facebook, whatever. So she's available for questions. So I hope everybody's got their new packet and had time to review it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mayor, Council, we just wanted to come together today. Our open enrollment for employee insurance is coming up. We've been working several weeks.
Excuse me, Mayor, we can't hear her.
Okay, you're gonna have to take your mask off talking to the microphone.
Okay, is this on?
Cheryl, I would actually come up here closer to the mics because your voice is soft. So come sit closer over here if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll back up.
Okay. You stand there?
Turn your around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, it's the new age of technology, and somebody's still holding the rabbit ears, and here we go.
Okay, so we just wanted to come together today. Our open enrollment for employee insurance is coming up soon. We've been working with Hub, our broker, for several weeks. going into this process. We had a small committee, myself, Jessica, our HR generalist, Judy has been very involved in the process, our finance director. Irma has been involved in the process, everyone attending many conference calls and WebExes. And Ron's also been very involved and supportive. I'm going to let Gilda go into more detail on the plans, but basically we wanted to kind of talk about how we arrived at the plans that we did, how Hub stopped them for us, and then how we came to the selections that we did for the staff and for the village. For Blue Cross Blue Shield Health, the preliminary numbers came in at 18.9% increase and a 9% increase on the dental. We said that wasn't going to work. They went back and they came back to us. They came back at a 0% increase on dental, so a rate pass on the dental, and then a 10% increase on the health with a 10% credit for the first 2 months into the fiscal year, July and August. So what that looks like is we would be billed the full amount, but on the right behind it, we would see a credit for the July and August bill. So if you look at it over a 12-month period, it actually comes out to an 8.33 increase.
So is it 10% or is it 8.33%?
Well, it is 10%.
And then we get a little bit of a rebate over the 2 months?
For September through June, correct.
Mayor, Cheryl, how do you handle that with employees? How do you handle that with employees rebating an employee?
Employees what?
How do you handle rebating an employee with a credit?
We are going to have to reconcile those bills for all 200 staff. And Jessica and I are prepared to do that. The HR department with the support of Gilda and Nicole from Hub. It will be a lot of work. We did ask them if we could go back and just get an 8.33 across the board for the 12 months and not have to deal with the credits and the reconciliation. But that unfortunately couldn't be done. So we'll do the work to make sure that those credits are applied correctly.
Mayor and council, this is Judy. What we could do actually is not change the rates for the July and August billings on the employees. And they would still be at the old rate, and then we could actually change when the in September when the true rate takes effect for us. That way there won't be an issue with changing employees and stuff. So I think that would make it a little bit smoother.
Good idea. Thank you, Judy.
Yes, good.
And then I did want to mention something that I'm really excited about. Hub is actually bringing us an online portal this year for our employees to do open enrollment. It's offered by a third-party administrator called GIS. It is no cost to us. It's just going to help us streamline the process. They are offering 2 ways to get this done. Employees can log into the website, do their enrollments if they're comfortable with the computer. If they are not, they can also call in and speak to a call center rep, call center coach, and get that done. And of course, HR is going to be there to guide them if they want to do it online and get it done that way. So that's kind of a cool new feature being brought that'll help us streamline those processes. We're scheduled at this time for open enrollment to be held June 1st through June 5th.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Sheriff. What was those dates again? June 1st
Through June 5th.
through the 5th, okay.
Okay, and so I guess Gilda's on the phone. And Gilda, how are they, I know all this COVID rebate and COVID whatever, is any of that affecting this insurance this time? You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Thank you. So, yes, Mayor, it is affecting, but only in a positive way. Now, do I have an echo?
Yes, but we're getting used to it, I guess. I don't know what to do about it.
Okay. Sorry about that. Because of the COVID, some of the ancillary lines of coverage are holding the renewal rate. So that's a positive. And then what we're calling a rebate is actually that additional pot of money that's being credited for the billing statement for Blue Cross for the month of July.
I think you need to turn your speaker off on your computer because you're coming across on the phone, right? You're talking into your cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think you've got a little echo coming from your Zoom video or whatever video. That's the issue.
How is that?
That's better. Not much better.
Still didn't use your Zoom.
Can you mute your Zoom? Is it muted yet? Now talk.
No, that seemed to.
Okay, we'll go ahead and proceed.
All right, is that better?
Not really.
Okay. Let me turn this, if I disconnect this phone, I may lose you.
Okay.
Now unmute your.
Now you have to unmute your Zoom, your video.
Still muted, Gilda.
Yours is still muted, Gilda.
Sure. You get the mouse and click on your speaker.
We're working on this end
This one-
too.
This one here. There's not one there?
No.
It's over there. We might have to. I'm sorry, everybody. There you go. Now click on her on the mute part. There you go. Not do anything? Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Now she's unmuted.
Okay, I was just making sure you guys didn't have everyone muted.
No, we can hear you, Justin. Now we can you talk now, Gilda?
It's on her.
Sure, have her call your cell phone, or call her on your cell phone and you put it up here.
Gilda, we're gonna have you call Cheryl on her cell phone and see if we can get away from the echo that way. So if you want to go ahead and call Cheryl.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make a quick comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Save it for later, but, I did survey a few employees on the plan that we have now, what they thought of the insurance and stuff, and there weren't any complaints
Okay.
or any concern. Of course, you know, they said, don't go back to Cigna.
Yeah.
Which is free. And so, that was just a few employees, about 5 or 6.
Okay. We were getting a lot of the same input that, we wanted to make sure on the claims paid numbers that we were getting those addressed. Just what kind of holdups that we were having on Blue Cross Blue Shield, but it has been a significant improvement from Cigna. And I was just curious because my prints on this one is hard to read. I had some other ones, but I was just going to ask Gilda. I know we prefer the PPO, and I know that's what we're looking at. In comparison to United Health and the other health insurers, did we get any PPOs that put in also, or were they all HMOs? She called you?
She hasn't called yet.
Can you call Cheryl, Gilda?
Sure, call her.
I don't have her cell, I have Nicole's.
Maybe she can call in like that.
Well, we've done that and we've had a horrible echo.
Okay, let me go, I'm sorry.
No, this isn't. Okay, can we table this one and move on to number 2 until we figure out this cluster? Okay, I vote that I'd like to move on to item number 2. We'll table number 1 and come back when we get some of our technical issues manageable. So we'll move on to item number 2 is discussion and possible action on a request to schedule a public hearing on June 9th, 2020 for ordinance 2020-04 and ordinance amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Lodgers Tax, Section 78 through 36, exemptions from the tax. And who is the one that we've got?
Mayor, on this one, I've worked with Justin on this.
Mhm.
And what we're really wanting to do is make the lodgers tax ordinance consistent with state statute. As you recall,
Yes.
last year, the legislative session, they removed the 3-room rule. So in preparation to entering into an agreement with VRBO HomeAway, we want to clean up the language.
Okay, and I think we all understand that, can appreciate that. Is there any discussion on any of that anybody would like to ask Manager Dodge or our tourism director? No? If none, then could I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to schedule a public hearing on June 9th, 2020 for ordinance 2020-404, an ordinance amending the Village of Ruidoso Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Lodgers Tax, Section 78-36, exemptions from tax.
Understand.
Second.
Yeah. You couldn't hear Susan? He just read the agenda
Yes,
item
sir.
again.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, and so we had a motion. Do we have a second?
One room. Yeah, Cornelius.
Counselor Cornelius.
Council Cornelius. Okay, we need a roll call, please, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin. Counselor, Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Oh, hang on a minute. I could barely hear you. Say it again, Raffle.
Aye,
All right, there you go. Okay.
yeah, whoever read the motion, they cut out on me. I didn't know if they had a mic or not.
Yeah, it was Counselor Jackson. He was talking right into it.
Okay, I couldn't hear him on the phone, so.
The feedback's gonna be on Gilda's side. She has 2 speakers close to each other or something.
Okay. We're still getting feedback from you, Gilda. Do you have 2 speakers anywhere near? I don't know what to tell you. So we had a motion and it passed. Okay, we'll try to go back to item number 1 and we'll just have to suffer through it. But basically what I'm hearing, Gilda, is the employees that we've polled and whatnot are happy with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I was just asking, because we like the PPO over the HMO, did United Healthcare or Prez or anybody have anything that was comparable as a PPO? Because all I saw was HMOs and I can't read what I've got in front of me. It's too small.
Okay, so there should have been a document with,
Sure.
rate
Put it closer.
comparing the current Blue Cross Blue Shield with the current rates and the renewal rates.
I think you turned it off.
By the way, the imputed rate increase averaged over the 12 months is 8.3.
Right.
Okay. So then we looked at alternate Blue Cross plans. So that would mean some plan changes and a little bit of shift from the rich benefits that you have now for minute savings. So your benefits committee thought that did not make sense to to go that direction. The second page, shows the comparison of HMO plans, which are cheaper. The inherent problem with HMO is that the network is only in the state of New Mexico. It is not a nationwide network. And other benefits that you would lose. And then the third page, Cheryl, I think you distributed those 3 pages on that comparison.
Yeah, but I can't read mine. There's no print.
Oh, okay. It's a little easier.
I did,
Oh, you have it
Gilda,
on that.
but they're a little hard to read on the copies.
It's easier to see on
Okay, we have them on the computer.
Yes, and then the third page of that, and I apologize that size, I can make mine larger, but not yours. So we did look at Presbyterian. When Presbyterian, quoted an identical plan to what your current benefits are with Blue Cross Blue Shield, their rate was higher, considerably higher than your renewal rate with Blue Cross Blue Shield. The only one that was a cost savings was United Healthcare, and even that, the cost savings was minimal. And the problem with United Healthcare is the network in your area is not sufficient.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah.
translate what she said in the footnote version, we could not understand.
Hang on a minute, Gilda. It's hard to understand you. What she said was, move that thing. This is just unbearable sometimes with this stuff.
All kinds of.
Yeah, there's all kinds of noise everywhere. But what she said was that in comparison with United Healthcare, which was at a PPO, that United isn't strong enough in our area. And so we would lose some benefit potential there. The other comparisons were with HMOs that were Presbyterian, Reliance Standard, were Blue Cross Blue Shield, different plans, also Presbyterian and United Healthcare and Cigna, which we all agree we don't want. That they were very limited in scope, but they were limited to only New Mexico. So the PPOs where we want to go. So everything, United Healthcare was a smidge cheaper, but they just didn't have the reach or the extent in our area that Blue Cross Blue Shield does. So that's what she was basically saying. Was there anything you needed to add to that, Gilda?
And the savings with United Healthcare was approximately 0.5%.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So it sounds like the Blue Cross Blue Shield was reviewed. The only other question that I have, because I know that we interviewed and talked to several employees that had very good results with Blue Cross Blue Shield on claims, procedures requested, things of that nature, but was our prescriptions reviewed, Gilda, with what the prescriptions that the majority of our employees are using, were they reviewed and they're still on the plan? They're not, how Cigna took a bunch of those off and they became very expensive. Did the ones remain on our prescription plan?
So they were not reviewed, Mayor. There's not a choice. Blue Cross Blue Shield does not. Cigna offers different drug formularies. Blue Cross does not. You got what you got. However, Blue Cross has the most broad drug formulary of all the insurance companies, but it's not changeable.
Go ahead. Dr. Jackson has a question.
Oh, and if I recall and correct me, it's tiered as well with Blue Cross Blue Shield, is it not? For each of the pharmaceutical items?
Yes, she responded yes. Does any of the other counselors have a question? Nope. Okay.
Oh,
Nope, okay. All right, because I know that we had a little different setup this year because the people that were in charge of it in the past have moved on. So we were a little off balance this time, but we'll get that fixed where we've got a counselor involved and Ron and you know, that we review the processes much better so that you have a better handle on what's been done on reviewing the insurance, because we know that is a very important benefit to our employees, especially in this day and time. So if we don't have any other questions, we just would like a motion to accept Gilda's proposal. And did anybody have any questions on the supplementals? That really didn't change on the vision. I mean, on the dental, and the vision didn't change either. So, so we're all good on that. So can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, move to approve health, medical, dental, and supplemental insurance policies and premiums for fiscal year 2021 budget year.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, folks. Thank you, Gilda. I'm sorry about all the technical problems that we're having, but it looks like we got another great policy, great coverage. It just always concerns me when I hear we only have a 10% increase. And we were paying about $2.5 million in insurance a year. So, that $250,000 is hard to swallow, especially these times. And we were appreciative of the rebate that we received last year, which was a first for us, because usually it's 5%, 10% or more a year in health insurance. So thank you for doing that. And I know our village employees appreciate the good coverage that we have. So thank you very much. Item number 3 is discussion and possible action on voluntary collection agreement with HomeAway.com, Inc. to provide an internet-based platform for the Village of Ruidoso tax, which this is, everybody's familiar with Airbnb, VRBO, and I know we're all becoming experts in short-term rentals and how this is working. So we have our presenter today is Mr. Huffman. Justin, do you have anything to add?
I just want to add, looking at the Airbnb contract that the council approved to enter into the voluntary agreement a while back, that has produced on average close to $30,000 a month in collections that we're no longer having to chase down. With this VRBO agreement, again, it was just one of those deals where it's, we were happy to finally get in touch with VRBO. The voluntary agreements, I'll leave all the legal interpretation to Zach. They look pretty straightforward. When you compare the two companies, VRBO looks like they have fewer properties, but they're actually whole houses, and you actually compare revenues on the two companies. Airbnb and VRBO are very similar in their overall gross revenues. So I would anticipate the VRBO contract bringing in comparable numbers to what the Airbnb contract brings in. It eliminates, Stephanie's office from having to work so hard chasing down some of those folks and ensuring that they're in compliance, just gaining overall compliance. I think that, as we saw from the Airbnb contract, is quite fruitful, and I think this will just add to our overall bottom line when we're looking at our Rogers tax collections. And that's all I have to add. I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, did you talk to the gentleman that's named on here, or anybody with VRBO? Mr. Tom?
The Jeffrey Rossman, the attorney.
Oh, okay, that's who we talked to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was via email.
Okay, I was wondering if you talked to Tom Pucci. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, Pucci.
Pucci? Well, the other alternative I wasn't going to say out loud. So,
It's a hard C.
yeah, it's a hard C. Pucci. Counselor Cook, did you have a chance to review?
I did, Mayor, and I agree.
Okay. Does anybody, counselors, have any other questions? Besides, can short-term rentals take people from out of state? We're still working on that. Go ahead, Counselor Salas.
On item number 3, the effective date, is that today after we approve it, or is that gonna be at the beginning of the month, or when?
Could you hear that, Justin?
Yeah, I heard that. I would assume once we get this approved, we can send it over to Airbnb and
VRBO?
correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like they probably want to start on the beginning of the cycle. So that's what I would assume, but that's just an assumption, so I don't have any real room to speak there.
Okay, we will find out, Rifle, and get back with you on it, but it's probably at the beginning of their, because I know these guys pay, usually they throw out checks weekly. They probably will submit monthly, but I don't know what cycle, but we'll get that nailed down.
Mayor, we'll get this back to them. They'll countersign it, and when they countersign it, they'll put in the
date
of execution, and then they go through a notification process with their homeowners.
Okay. Did everybody hear that? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, Mayor, it's John. Justin, this is just talking about lodger's tax. Are they gonna also collect GRT?
Not according to this agreement. That's one of the conversations that I've been having with the state is, they've obviously mandated that STRs collect and remit both GRT and lodger's tax. But when I talk to the state, the problem is that the municipalities have to exhaust a lot of resources chasing those funds. So what I am encouraging the state to do is try to get them to actually work with Airbnb, VRBO, these OTAs, to actually enter into voluntary agreements on a statewide level to where GRT will also be able to be collected. And that's kind of the position that I've been advocating from, but this is specific to lodger's tax.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense. It's similar to like Amazon collects, we have, when we order off Amazon, you have to pay state tax. It goes to the state. So it seems like any of these internet-based entities should be doing the same thing.
Yeah, and that's, the state, they kind of are like, well, we passed it to where they have to collect or remit. And I'm like, yeah, but we're chasing, in Ruidoso alone, there's over, I don't even know the total number. There's a lot of listings in Ruidoso alone on these STRs. So what I told them is we need to just have it at the state level to where it's a lot easier for the state to enforce it, because then within their system, they can remit to the state and the state can filter the GRT back to us appropriately, so.
Right, unless, and I know it's come up in the state before, changing the tax system to from the system we're at now to the actual location. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head though, is with the way that the new internet sales tax and the way they're going to start enforcing that, on the GRT collection side of things, I think that's really going to change the way that they hopefully look at some of these other internet-based functions and can start really implementing that to enforce and collect those taxes. So it'll be interesting to see this moving forward.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. Does anybody else have any comments or questions?
Just good job, Justin. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin. I think these things are helping us out considerably and gives us time to focus, just if there are delinquents, but also on other avenues that we're working on in that department. So I think that's a really good job. I know it's taken a long time to get these big guys' attention, so great job on that. Any other points that anybody would like to make, or do you want to make a motion, someone?
Mayor, I'll go ahead and make the motion. I'll move to approve voluntary collection agreement with HomeAway.com Incorporated to provide an internet-based platform for Village of Ruidoso lodger's tax. Second.
Okay, who was the second? EB? Okay. Roll call, please, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Justin. Item number 4, we're excited about this one too. And if y'all haven't been keeping score, we've had some good things happen, you know, with the internet process that we've gotten started has been very good. And if you haven't been out to Grindstone, you need to check it out, what all the great work, and it's just beautiful out there. Now, this is another one that you can put a feather in your cap. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on the purchase of the old Wingfield House located at 2811 Sutter Drive in the amount of $565,000 even. And do we have anybody that wants to have a discussion on this? I know we've talked about it before. Okay.
I just had a question on the agreement.
Yes, but sir, go ahead.
It ties in with that handout that we got on the identification for Russ.
Yes.
On the agreement on the second page, I believe, I'm trying to pull it up. There's a conflict of interest. What is that conflict?
Zach Cook, do you have a comment on that?
I do. Mr. Russ wanted to put that in for just to make sure that he was being as transparent as possible. He thought it was a conflict. I don't think it's a conflict, but he wanted to put it in. And it's basically based on my business relationship with Jim Russ, where we're partners in a building where he has his real estate office and I have my locks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And what this indemnification is for is that Mr. Russ has done that. As y'all well know, he volunteers a lot of time for village projects and whatever. So when we started down this process sometime back, I'd asked him if he would help us, and he agreed that he would do it for no cost at all. And so, you know, with him not having any profitability in it or whatever, you know, I don't want anything to be brought up that would tax his E&O insurance or any other things that might come up. So we just chose to indemnify him for him helping us out and making sure all the paperwork's done correctly. And of course, it's all done by the book, and we had the area surveyed, and I know John and several counselors have been over to look at it. And then we had a insurance policy, what's it called, Tim?
Title.
A title insurance policy pulled. All the formats, everything was done. So he just insured to that, and then the signing of the actual takeover will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So that's why that was in there. We just felt like, you know, we didn't want him to have any concerns that, and I have none, but that's just something there that we chose to do.
Mayor, we've talked about this a number of times in closed session, but it hasn't come out publicly. Could somebody just give a brief overview about what the
Sure.
Looking at purchasing this and what plans are for the future?
You bet. Thank you, Counselor. Yeah, thank you, Counselor Coughlin. I do forget that so many of these things we've been working on for years, but this property is located on Suttereth, next door to Ace Hardware. It's the old gray building. That is one of the home sites, or the original site of the Wingfields, which everybody knows. The Wingfields, Ike Wingfield, Wingfield Park, Wingfield Street. Just some of the founding families that were there and related to our very own Counselor Letterman. But Ruidoso has no historical area that people can learn about the origins of the village. So we've been looking for some time with other people to be able to get this, and this building has been available in the past, but the village council was always a little slow in reaction to the sale, and it was always purchased by someone else. The owner, the husband had died, the wife was ready to sell it, so we were able to get it less than what the asking price was for. But we plan on making this building like a visitors type area where people can go in. We will have historical data, pictures, deeds, paperwork, copies of contracts about how the village of Ruidoso came to be. People always ask, how come it's not mentioned in the Lincoln County War? When the regulators or Billy the Kid is brought up, you don't hear a thing about Ruidoso. And I know if anybody's been in the public very, very long, they've always asked you, how come Ruidoso didn't take Lake Bonita when it was offered? You know, and so, because we weren't here. And, you know, a lot of those different things, just the origins, where the people came from. It has a lot of things to do with the names you see on street signs and subdivisions in town, and how the town has grown basically from just a sleepy little place in the pines in the summer for people to escape the heat. How we grew by events, you know, and that's how we stretched our shoulder seasons, as it were, to be the community that we are today. And so it just gives, I think, our community, our citizens, a sense of self, of who we are, to have a little pride in our community. So that's where that all that information will be housed. It's in the it's in the Midtown District, barely. It's also will be instrumental with helping RMA, the Ruidoso Midtown Association. So I think it'll be a big help to our community. And then we're going to, as all of y'all are aware of, that I've been yakking about for some time, that MTD Radios, a Hubbard company, is moving their radio stations back to Lovington. They'll still have transformers here for their FM stations, but they had nowhere, they really just didn't know what to do with the KRUI 1490 station, which most of you know starts off with talk radio in the morning. They offered it to us for free. So we've accepted it. We're in the final closing stages with the FCC and making sure we've got all of our I's dotted. And we would like to locate that radio station there in that garage area. And this is all just hopeful, wishful thinking on my part, because I haven't really investigated it to a point. But we'd like to locate it in that garage area, cut out that wall, put in a big double pane glass window so people could see what was going on inside, and have a daily show about what's going on in Ruidoso, Lincoln County, because we've lost that. We don't have a local radio station that talks about what's going on in the town. Our newspaper, well, y'all know the story. And so that's what all of this building will house and encompass. So I think it'll be a big part of the future of communications. Our PIO will be able to communicate if there's ever any type of an emergency or thing that needs to get out. We'll have information rotating, you know, every 15 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever it takes on that radio, so people can get caught up on the news. We'll have signs so that tourists, visitors will be able to come in and tune to it. And we've chosen the name with KRUI. It's going to be called The Mountain. So we've already got some cool looking logos and different things that I know you'll all be dying to get a hold of. So they will be for sale shortly, I hope. But anyway, I think it's a big addition to the community, and I hope that the public feels that way, and that this can be a real bright, shiny spot in the last 2 months of fear, doom, and gloom. And I think this is just another signal that we're pulling out of this thing, and we're not going to look back on the COVID. So I hope I covered that enough, but I thank you guys for sticking with us on this while we were doing the research on this property. And I would like to thank Frank Potter and his wife Elizabeth and some others that he has gathered just a lot of historical information, pictures, just some of the most interesting stuff in the world from some of the old timers that are still around, that they will be donating on loan from, things of that nature, that will be on display at this property. So does anyone have any other comments or questions? But thank you for that, Councilor Coughlin.
Oh, and Mr. Mayor, just for the record, it meets the burden of fair market value in terms of purchase price.
Yes, we had we entered into an agreement privately with the seller. We had a representative represent the village, and we had appraisal done. We had the boundaries and whatnot. What's the word? Surveyed. And so it does meet the burden of market price. And so we didn't, we didn't pay any more than we had to for it, for sure.
Mayor, I'd like to invite Councilor Ludeman to make a motion.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Before I make it, can I make a statement?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to thank you, Mayor, and the council for looking at this property in this way, because it's 100 years old, and of course nobody else had the wonderful moments that I did in that house, watching the parade from the front yard. Christmas, Thanksgivings, weddings, funerals. I can't even tell you, but right now, the Wingfield family is very, very excited. When the village bought the park, the 9 acres, and we've done such a wonderful job with that park. It's a focal point of the Midtown. And this property has the opportunity to also be a focal point in the history of Ruidoso. And I would just like to say thank you so much from the bottom of the Wingfield heart. This is a very special moment for us.
Awesome. Yeah, make that motion.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to purchase the old Wingfield house located at 2811 Sutterth Drive in the amount of $565,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. It was Counselor Cornelius that got it in. Any other discussion? It sounds like it was a value at twice the price. Anybody else have any other comments? Okay, we have a roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Okay, awesome. So this is, like I said, this will be a little diamond in our beautiful setting that we call Ruidoso.
Mayor, one last piece of
Sure.
business on that is, we need a draft copy of the minutes.
Oh, yeah.
By this afternoon, Irma. So
Can you do that?
Priority.
We need a draft copy of the minutes today to get to the closing title company for the closing in the morning. So we'll need that today if we can get it. Okay, item number 5 will be closed session. So I would like a motion to enter into closed session, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to a closed session with discussion of the purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing 10-15-1H8, New Mexico Statutory Authority, 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session.
Second.
Okay, was that Eby? Okay, Eby. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Coughlin.
Aye.
Okay, and Manager Dodge would like to make a statement before we go into close out.
Mayor, Council, we do have a busy weekend coming up. We've been in communication with Becky Brooks over at the chamber. They're getting quite a bit of calls in. One of the reports that we're hearing is that a lot of people have purchased RVs, and that's a majority of the calls that they're getting is people coming up here to camp in the wilderness and whatnot. So I met yesterday with the chief, both chiefs, fire chief and police chief, to just talk about that situation, so they're aware of it. All the directors have volunteered to help with Ruidoso Safe this weekend. So I just want to thank the directors for stepping up and volunteering. And, that's one of the things that the mayor and council wanted to see, is that the directors are here and engaged during the busy holiday weekends, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and Christmas. So I just want to say thank you to the directors.
Okay. Yeah, I do. Can't tell you how much I appreciate our directors working on these days, because it is going to be busy. And also just for everyone's FYI, that the parking lot at Grindstone, we will be charging today per our ordinance. So it will be a big weekend, even though a lot of stuff is still closed and on the edge. So I appreciate the directors immensely, because it's going to take a long weekend, and I hope that we'll all be better for it, and that our businesses will be able to start gaining instead of just losing. Okay, roll call, please. Do we already have one? Okay, never mind. We'll enter into closed session now.